And after falling at home to Michigan State over a month ago, Penn State women's volleyball has ripped off 11 consecutive victories. Braxton Miller and Ohio State scored quickly on their first drive of the game, but Christian Hackenberg and Penn State nearly answered. Penn State came to the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh looking for a program-changing win, and they nearly got it. Thanks, Tori. Coming up in sports, Penn State looks to bounce back from the loss at Ohio State. Ed Ruth will not travel with the wrestling team this weekend. According to head coach Cale Sanderson, Ruth violated team rules earlier this week. Now keep an eye on Allen Robinson. The wide receiver is 42 yards away from breaking the school record for receiving yards in a single season set by Bobby Ingram in 1995. Kickoff is at noon. Thanks, Allie. More on that game later, but first, a lot has been made about Bill O'Brien's future at Penn State. I sat down with the coach during the bye week. Is there one program out there that you look at and say, you know what, we want to be like them?
It's a great question. I do. I look at certain programs for certain things.
Yeah, guys, Christian Hackenberg and Penn State get out to a 14-0 lead. They couldn't really put Purdue away until the end of the game, but they end up winning the game 45-21. So the grounds crew right behind me prepares Beaver Stadium for one final game this year. I'm Willie Jungels, joined by Sean McGonigal, the Daily Collegian, for Bill O'Brien's daily press conference wrap-up on Tuesday. Penn State football is 5-1 following a loss under Coach Bill O'Brien, and after a blowout defeat to Ohio State, the Lions will look to rebound versus Illinois tomorrow. Welcome to a special roundtable discussion to cap off the 2013 football season here on the Center County Report. I'm Willie Jungels. From the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, I'm Willie Jungels for the Center County Report. Now over to high school football. The playoffs have finally arrived, and it's that time of year when every team has one goal: a state championship. For the State College Little Lions, their title run begins tonight against Mifflin County. Tonight's District 6 showdown at Memorial Field features two teams that faced each other just 2 weeks ago. The Little Lions traveled to Mifflin County on October 25th and beat the Huskies 26-21. But this time around, they would like a much better performance.
We have to be able to stop them, not let them drive it down our throats like we did last time, and be able to also convert. We had a couple of opportunities to score last time, and we didn't. So we've got to be able to move the ball on offense and, again, stop their rushing attack because they are bigger than us, they are stronger than us, and they do hit. So we've got to be able to answer that.
Answering Mifflin County's intensity will be a big key for State College tonight because the Huskies have nothing to lose. They are chomping at the bit to end State College's 5-year reign as District 6 champs. Tonight's playoff game is set to kick off at 7 p.m. Tomorrow afternoon, Penn State men's basketball begins their season against Wagner. Head coach Patrick Chambers is set for his third season on the job. And to get an insider's look on his tenure so far, Alex Gilliland sat down with Chambers in an exclusive one-on-one interview. Hey, I'm Willie Jungels, live outside Beaver Stadium with your sports. As you can see behind me, there are no campers. That's because Nittanyville is not camping until 3 o'clock today due to the weather. But as Travis just showed you, and as you can see, it is gorgeous down here. Now, the big question is what Penn State football team will show up in Beaver Stadium tomorrow. They've been inconsistent all year. The one thing they've been consistent at is turning the ball over, and it's been a major problem for the Nittany Lions. A lot going on in sports this week. Hopefully they can get a couple wins here at Penn State for Tori's birthday, and we'll see if they can make that happen. I'm Willie Jungels outside Gate 8. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Willie.
With New England, you guys were the standard of the NFL. Every franchise wants to be like New England. Some would say Ohio State's the standard of the Big Ten up until this point. They haven't lost under Urban Meyer. What do you have to do as a program to overtake them as that standard? You were in the position that you were the standard in the NFL. Now, how do you take down the standard?
That's a great point, Willie. They are the standard in the Big Ten. You know, anytime you win 18 games in a row, it's hard enough to win one game, take it from me. And to be able to do that is a testament to their program, to Urban Meyer as a head football coach.
You mentioned earlier in the interview how much you enjoy living here. You've been so warmly embraced since you came here. What's the most underrated aspect of your job that people don't get to see how much you enjoy, and what do you enjoy most about living here? Why have you enjoyed this experience so much?
Well, I mean, there's so many, I don't know, that's a great question about what's the most underrated. You know, I love coaching these kids.
From the common outsider, Ron Vanderlyn is regarded as a good recruiter and has recruited a lot of people and has been a really good linebacker coach here at Penn State. Navarro Bowman in the NFL, Sean Lee, the list goes on and on. From recruits, what was the reaction for them that he was let go?
Really not a lot, to be honest with you. I mean, Ron, a good recruiter through the years.
Saturday afternoon turned out to be one of the biggest events in Penn State men's basketball history. Head coach Pat Chambers said he got misty-eyed when he walked into the stadium and saw students waiting outside to get in. And it almost turned out to be a victorious Saturday afternoon. Penn State led by 20, but after the game, all they could think about was a missed opportunity. First time in nearly 18 years, Penn State men's basketball back at Rec Hall. A sellout crowd of over 6,000 in attendance. We'll pick it up in the first half. DJ Newble knifes into the lane and lays it in. Newble led all scorers with 14 in the first half. In the second half, Tim Frazier drives the lane and lays it in. At this point, Penn State now up by 20 points. Princeton coach Mitch Henderson after the game said at this point he was worried about getting his team home amidst the snowstorm outside. But Will Barrett makes 5 threes in the second half, including this one as Princeton was able to tie the game up at 66. But Penn State would have a chance to win it as Tim Frazier pulls up from 3, just off the iron, as Penn State and Princeton head to overtime. The Tigers took control in the extra frame, but Penn State would battle back. With 4 seconds left, Frazier drives the lane and is fouled, but he would only make 1 of 2 free throws. But Penn State would have yet another opportunity, this time to tie the game, as Allen Roberts has a full court pass to Frazier. He gets a good look, but it's no good. Penn State falls to Princeton 81-79 in overtime at Rec Hall.
We're a free throw away, a stop away from sitting up here celebrating.
We let them get hot. Stop communicating like it was in the first half. We just got to do a better job at communicating and keeping and putting teams away when we had them down 12 with 4 minutes to go. We got to do a great job of closing the games.
Something we worked on in the last 2 days after Duquesne, after Marshall, after Longwood, finishing games. And we haven't learned it yet. We just haven't learned it yet.
So as the crew cleans up Rec Hall, we don't know if Penn State basketball will ever be back playing basketball here, but one thing for sure remains. Penn State basketball hopes that this craze and excitement that was created here today can continue at the BJC for many years to come. For the Center County Report at Rec Hall, I'm Willie Jungels. When you come to Beaver Stadium to watch a football game, it can be easy to overlook. But what you're watching is 2 teams battle on one of the finest athletic fields in the country.
It's a pride thing, we spend a lot of time on this field, and that's a big deal to us.
Mark Kresovich is the group leader of the Beaver Stadium maintenance team and has been working on the field for 23 years. His team works tirelessly to make the field as good as it can be come game day, which has prompted praise from many former players.
No matter how nice the field looks, our main concern is how the field plays. We've got a lot of feedback from players that have left here and went to the NFL. They've come back. LeVar Arrington was one of them. They came back and said, I've never played on a field as well as Beaver Stadium, but we get that from a lot of them.
The field that has former Penn Staters raving consists of Kentucky bluegrass mixed with some ryegrass as well. To keep the grass as pristine as possible requires 80 gallons of paint and countless hours of time and dedication.
We'll clean up the field from that game. Clean up any loose grass, sweeping that up, and then clean up the sidelines. And then Sunday we'll come in typically and do divots and then plug out any areas that are wore out, and then we'll start the next week with painting.
With his second year coming to a close, head coach Bill O'Brien is pleased with the field he calls home.
This game field is a fantastic field. It's deep-rooted. It doesn't tear up. It's got great drainage. It's basically a dry field, which is big. The grass is cut to the right length. I just think this game field is awesome.
For the Center County Report, I'm Willie Jungels.